Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm back for another Slim Sports interview. And as always, I'm your host, Jay Slim. And joining me today is a familiar face to the show. Had him on a couple years ago, back when he was balling out for the Bellarmine Knights. Since then, made the NCAA tournament with Vermont, playing pro overseas, going against a couple of other Slim Sports guys, and racking up the numbers. As always, my guy, one of the best point guards at the professional level, Dylan Penn. What's going on, man?
Marfo ind til Penn. Ja,
Hey, thanks, man. I need to have you do all my intros from now on. Sheesh.
Absolutely, man. Gotta hype you up because you deserve to be hyped up, man. You putting up numbers left and right wherever you go. You just got done with your first year at the professional level playing overseas for Svendborg over in Denmark. And then, I mean, now you're already signed to another team. So the journey's been crazy just over the past year. Talk to me real quick about this past year as a whole, playing professionally for the first time as a rookie. What has that experience been like for you overall?
Um, it was definitely an adjustment period, going from college to the professional level because the margin of error shrinks a little bit and the attention to details up a little bit more. And playing in Europe, it's a little bit different, playing at home where you have an opportunity to see family, you really are kind of on your own and you got to adjust to some things. Style of basketball is a little bit different to what we normally see in America, but I played in two systems that were very based off of ball movement, which is how a lot of Europeans team play. So it was for my first year. It was a really neat experience. It was a really good self-learning experience. Finding out things in my game that I didn't necessarily have most of the confidence in that I'm starting to really get more settled into now that I'm out of college. And you're kind of on your own. Everybody's fighting each other for that next spot. So that first year it was fun. It was a ride. It was definitely an experience. And after an adjustment, you really get to settle in and just focus on basketball. It was definitely a blessed year. Just kind of for me personally to kind of keep taking that self journey.
Yeah, and you talked real quick about, the changes that you had to adapt to. Luckily, you had those systems where you were able to kind of blend in real quick. Talk to me real quick, because obviously you and I both know a lot of players that I've interviewed have gone on to the professional level overseas, and they all talk to me about their experiences, the changes in style of play, changes just as human beings living overseas in different countries. What would you say were the biggest adaptations that you had to make now playing pro over in Denmark?
Biggest adaptation, a shorter shot clock was definitely an adjustment for me. And I feel like that's something that every pro has to go through. But you go from college 30 seconds to pro 24 seconds. So your first, second, and middle third are all a little bit shorter. So it's just kind of making decisions a little bit snappier, a little bit quicker. And then in Europe, they all love to use a ball screen, but it's not just, let me use a ball screen, see if I can score or not. Like you coming off that ball screen to play make. If you don't have anything, we got to move it to the other side and we got to keep the continuity going. So that's something that I feel like is a big thing that maybe not a lot of people that don't follow European basketball would see or know. It's just the constant flow off of the ball screen play that teams initially use.
Yeah, and you helped lead your team to a lot of success in your first year as a pro, and you've been able to succeed wherever you've been at. Bellarmine, you ended up winning the ASUN tournament. I believe your second to last year, or your last year there. It was right before I had you on the first time. You ended up winning that, and we talked about it last time I had you on for an interview how you guys got screwed because of that idiotic rule that the NCAA has, where when you go D2 to D1, you have to wait a few years to make a tournament. I've never understood that rule. It makes no sense to me. You guys won it, deserve to be in it, obviously. But luckily for you, you did get a taste of March Madness, ended up going to Vermont for your final year of eligibility, and you made it to the NCAA tournament with them. Tell me, was it kind of I'm sure it was kind of a bittersweet moment because obviously you wanted to make March Madness with Bellarmine because you had so much history with them. But I'm sure for you as a player, it must have been so sweet to be able to finally make that tournament in your final year of college. Talk to me real quick about that moment being able to make it to March Madness finally.
Man, that was, it was one of the most gratifying feelings I've had as an athlete because when, we won the tournament, terrible rule, can't go to the tournament. So you win, but you don't really feel like a winner. So it's kind of a tough deal. Quickly on that rule, terrible rule, it needs to be changed immediately. We're not the Bellarmine's not the only place got screwed by it. Merrimack got screwed by it. The USI women's basketball team got screwed by it this past year. So terrible rule. Off my soapbox for that though. But when I went into the transfer portal, I said that I wanted to go to the March Madness. I wanted to go to the tournament. And, I had some Power 5 offers. I had some big schools that I was talking to and looking at, but I settled on Vermont because I felt like they wanted me for me. They weren't just trying to fill a spot. They're going to put me in the game, give me a chance to get the ball, give me a chance to succeed. So that's something I went there. And when you announce that you want to go to the tournament and you go to a mid-major conference, you can kind of put a little bit of a target on your back because everybody wants to go to the tournament, So being able to assimilate that way, and then I think we went like 15-1 in conference play. We roll through the conference tournament, get to March Madness. That's just something that was over a year in the making for me. Just thinking about this is all I want to get to. This is what I've prepared for. This is what I prepared for 2 years now because I was able to go there and win it this year, but I couldn't even get there. So now I got to restart the process all over in a new place. So to be able to put this on the board and say, this is what I want to do, this is where I'm going, and to be able to, work towards something and achieve it. It's one of the best feelings I've had as an athlete.
Yeah, and I believe you were an all-conference performer. I know you were putting up numbers, ended up averaging 13 and a half points, shot 54% from the field during that year at Vermont. And then obviously with Bellarmine, I mean, over 1,000 career points. I mean, left and right, just you were a two-time all-conference in the ASUN. Your college career, so many accolades. And I'm sure it didn't really take long for pro teams to start contacting you when your college career was done. Obviously, I'm sure you had a lot of them from different countries. How long would you say it really took for you to make that transition and end up going to play for Svendborg in Denmark? Because obviously, like I said, with so many teams probably contacting your agent, I'm sure it was really tough decision.
Yeah. So early on in the process, it was a lot of, figuring out who I want to represent me in the first place. And then, this guy is saying that he's connected here. This guy's saying he's connected here. So you got to cipher through a lot of that first. And then, really from the time I kind of got out of school, like last May to all the way, I didn't leave. We went through the G League process, and then I ended up staying home until November before I officially decided to go out to Denmark. But from June all the way to October, we were getting calls, messages, this team's got a contract they're interested in giving you. So it was kind of a lot of asking around, just trying to find out information from, other guys I've played with that are pro, or guys from the programs I've been to, or guys just around my city that I know. Because there's a lot of things in overseas basketball that you don't get to find out without experience. So finding out which leagues are the stronger leagues, which teams have the budgets, which teams are ran the proper way, and there's a lot of that going on. But I mean, you're looking at 2 or 3 contracts to evaluate a month, and you don't really get a lot of time. You kind of got a 24-48 hour period to make a decision on it, and then it's gone. They're moving on to the next person. So last year was definitely it was more of a vicious experience than this year. I'm already signed early. I'm ready to go here August 7th. Sorry, got a little sinus thing going on. But this year with a little bit more information, we've been able to narrow down our options a lot sooner, figure out the best way to go. So now I can be excited moving forward this year and, really hit the ground running.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, because you touched on it a little bit, you went through the G League process, probably had some teams in that G League wanting you to be a part of their roster or work out for their team to see if you were the right fit for their system. I've talked with DeAndre Pickney, who you actually played against over in Denmark. He told me that he went through the G League process, and I thought it was kind of interesting how some of these players, not just him and you, but Austin Crowley, who I had on recently, he's going through that process right now, actually. Talk to me real quick about what that process was like, because obviously everyone talks about wanting to be in the NBA, G League to eventually get to the NBA, but sometimes it's better to go overseas rather than be a part of the G League. I know, kind of sounds weird, but being a player that's gone through that experience, talk to me about your point of view on that.
The G League is all kind of circumstances. Like you could end up being sorry, man. You could end up being one of the top players on one of the top teams in the G League, and you could be stuck on that team for 2 seasons and never have a chance at an NBA roster. And then you could be a guy that doesn't really get many opportunities, and you get called up, 1 week and you're playing really good, and next thing you know, that guy's got a 2-way or an Exhibit 10 offer. Like I think of a guy like Jose Alvarado, like he's not somebody that was necessarily supposed to make it, but he showed out in the G League for a couple months and he got an opportunity and made the most of it. So for me, the process I went through, I got a lot of, I would say, varied feedback. We would have guys that would be like, we're interested, we want to bring them in. And then right when it's time to bring me in, actually, we're going to bring this guy in. Or, yeah, we got this private workout lined up, but maybe he wants to come to this one instead. So, like, for me, I saw a lot of guys that I played against in college, a lot of guys that went to bigger schools that maybe didn't have the numbers, but just they had that title of going to a SEC or a Big Ten school next to their name. So, I mean, a lot more teams took more opportunities on those guys and more chances on me. I felt like my feedback's always been kind of judged a little bit harsher because I went to a school like Vermont and I didn't go to Ohio State, or I didn't go to a Tennessee. Like I didn't go to one of those big schools. So for us mid-major guys, like it's a little bit tougher to get into those situations because teams kind of have a specific build that they're looking for and a specific guy. Because I went down to Orlando. I had an open tryout down there where I felt like I played very well, but I didn't get to be one of the main guys they focused on until about the last like 20 minutes of the camp. So I would say the G League is just one of the more vicious cycles that are out there in professional basketball. Because I say it like this, it's a league that nobody wants to be in. Everybody's in the G League so they can get to the NBA, or they're in the G League so they can go get, a big contract overseas next year. So it's just kind of a vicious cycle. Not saying that all professionalism is a vicious cycle, but it's a very come and go, very quick, very, very flexible system where, if you're not mentally prepared for it, you can get crushed very easily. Like I have a teammate, Pedro Bradshaw. He's been in the G League for 3 years now. Like Pedro's a very mentally tough player. A lot of guys would have folded. I think his first year he was on 4 different teams. And a lot of people probably would have folded, quit, and not been able to get through that. But he was able to carve out a niche with the Fort Wayne Mad Ants these past 2 years, where he's one of their higher prospects now, and he might get a chance, to rock with a 2-way or an Exhibit 10 this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy to hear. The G League process is out. It's absolutely insane. But luckily for you, you were able to go play pro overseas in Denmark, where you were a star player for them. 17 points, 3.6 rebounds, 4.7 assists for Svendborg over there. And we just talked about the G League a little bit. You got to go against a lot of guys that were playing in the G League, former NBA players in the TBT tournament recently, where you dropped 20 points in that game that you played in the first round in that tournament. How would you describe that tournament experience? Because I know a lot of players, get a chance to go and be a part of that, go trying to win that money. And you're going against these former NBA. I mean, the Kentucky team has Eric Bledsoe, Willie Cauley-Stein, a lot of former NBA talents. What was that experience like for you?
Oh man, I mean the TBT is one of the coolest experiences in basketball right now, in my opinion. Like especially at this time of the year where there's not a lot of basketball on. Like there's the summer league and then there's the big three and stuff. But the TBT you get to see like I'm playing against Peyton Siva, I'm playing against Russ Smith, Montrezl Harrell. Like these are like Louisville legends. You know what I'm saying? Like you talk about Kentucky's, they've got Bledsoe and Cauley-Stein, and then they got Tyler Ulis on the bench and like just seeing Butler's got a team, Indiana's got a team, Purdue's got a team. Like it's just really cool to see all these former, alumni, legends, players that the fans, a lot of fans grew up like idolizing these guys. Like I remember being in middle school watching Louisville win the championship, and now fast forward 10, 11 years later, I'm on the court playing against these guys. And it's not like everybody's out there trying to, show off what they can do. No, everybody's striving towards trying to win $1 million. So you see like really good team basketball. You see the chemistry of the reason why Wichita State was really good back in the day, or why Dayton was a premier player in the Atlantic 10. You see these things because you get to see these guys come back together and they get to play as a team, where a lot of times when you get moving along in your professional career, you get farther and farther away from that college and that structure. More guys end up being, I got to be an individual. I got to show off how good I am, what I can do so I can get my next contract. The TBT, it's not about that. It's about we got to play the way we know how to play so we can win $1 million. Because Louisville, when they played us, they did what they did to win a national championship. They played the run and jump, half court press. They forced some turnovers on us. And that's just something I think it's really cool to see that. Sorry, all these years later. So I think the TBT is phenomenal, and it brings the fans out. We had just under 6,000 in our game versus Louisville. So, you get these strong fan bases, you give them something to support, they're going to go see it.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that you got to have that kind of experience. You have all of these cool experiences already throughout your career, still continuing it. You already signed, like you mentioned before, to another team for this upcoming year. Going to go play for the Leinster Hammers in the Netherlands. They're a part of the European North Basketball League. And I took a look at them pretty decently. Got a cool logo, I think. Pretty decent logo. Obviously, being overseas, I don't really know a whole lot about their roster, a whole lot about their system, what they're talking to you about. So tell me real quick, what have you really gotten to learn about this organization, this team that you're going to go play for, to where you feel like it'll help enhance your basketball career?
The biggest thing that I've taken away is the GM and the head coach have two very high basketball IQs, which is something I'm attracted to. They're going to allow me to play the point guard and, come off ball screens. They want me to be a playmaker scorer. So, it's more of what I've done most of my career. So, talking to them and seeing that they're familiar with my game and they seem like they really know how to approach the game of basketball is what I'm really excited for. And, I want to move into coaching when I'm done playing. So if I can go overseas and find out some more information, get some more knowledge, more wisdom, that's always something that I'm going to try to do. And I feel like they can put me in a position, these next few years to be as successful as I can be over there.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome to hear. Head coach Dylan Penn. I like the ring of that. I like how that sounds. That'll be cool to watch out for one day. That is for sure. But obviously that's down the road. You still got that professional career. And like I said before, you're dropping buckets. And I mean, throughout pretty much all of your college career, you're averaging over 50% from the field. I saw you play against my Florida Gulf Coast Eagles. We ended up getting a picture before one of the games, and all of my coworkers were like, "Why are you taking pictures with the enemy?" I said, "That's not the enemy. That's my guy." So I told them to be quiet. That's my guy. And then you ended up dropping 20 on us that game, by the way. So made me look bad. But you've always had a real good touch around the rim where you're just able to get that ball to go in the hoop so easily. You've developed your 3-point shot and you've cut your hair also. I do want to point that out. Last time I had you on, you had the really long hair. And now I almost didn't recognize you when I first had you on. I'm not going to lie. But obviously, you're still growing your game, still got a lot to develop because you got this career that's going to go hopefully for the hopefully next decade or so. So talk to me real quick about what part of your game you're looking to improve most heading into your next season as a pro.
Still just getting the touch on that 3-pointer. In today's game, you got to be able to shoot. So just keep working on that, getting that as consistent as possible. I felt very confident, went 3 for 4 in the TBT from 3. So just keep working on that, getting that consistency. And then just growing my IQ as a player. The older I get, the more I realize once you get into the game, you don't really think, you kind of just play. So just kind of getting to that point where whenever I'm playing, everything's on autopilot and I can just make the right read without second guessing myself is probably the biggest thing. I've been watching a lot of film this summer and just a lot of different basketball things, trying to get my IQ, but just a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see what you end up doing this upcoming season, man. Been watching you throughout your college career, now your pro career. it's crazy to say that you've gone this far and you're gonna keep going, obviously. And hopefully one day soon, I know you see the jerseys in the background. I gotta get a Dylan Penn autograph here in the collection here soon. So definitely excited to see what you're doing throughout your career, man. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me again.
Yeah, for sure. I got you for a jersey too. Just send me the address.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. You have a good one.
Thank you. You too.